Well, the meltdown last night was legendary. Now, normally, I don't cover anything overtly political here on this channel. I cover it over on Midwestly, which I'll leave linked in the pinned comment down below. But what I thought was interesting about this channel, I thought would hopefully be not too divisive, is just laughing at the crazy woke overreaction to this election. Now, I've never considered myself on either side of the aisle by default. I try to cast my vote for the best person that I think is, that it's going to do the best job, regardless of whatever they have a D or an R or an L or whatever in front of their name. I find myself nowadays it's very difficult to find a candidate that I really like, but that's not what this is about. This is about the absolute hilarious election night meltdown that's been captured by various sources, including myself, that is hilarious. So last night there was an election in Virginia, essentially where a few Republicans upset a few Democrats. Not by huge margins, but the reason that it was touted so widely is because it was a state that Joe Biden had won significantly. And, ultimately, this was a lot of egg on the face for the far left. Because essentially, last night, the far left lost badly. Okay? If we look at Minneapolis, all those idiots who didn't live in Minneapolis that kept talking about how real people in Minneapolis wanted to defund the police and real people in Minneapolis hated the cops. Well, last night they voted on it and they voted to not defund the police. All these Twitter LARPers who thought that, because they don't have to live under those conditions with, a 2-hour wait time when you call 911, that their people, their comrades in Minneapolis would hold the fort for them. But no, they didn't. When they went into the voting booth, they voted for common sense. They voted for safety. Look, there was a really big Democratic win in New York. Somebody that, guess what, is going to be tough on crime, because I know this might be shocking to leftoids, but people want to feel safe. Most people want to see cops, okay? The overwhelming majority of people don't freak out when they see them drive down their street, all right? People want to feel safe. It's one of the few things that I'm okay with my tax dollars going to. Now, do I think they overspend? Yes. Am I a fan of the union? No. But I do back the badge, and I want them to have the tools that they need, and I want them to protect me and my neighbors. I'm not some 14-year-old LARPing, talking about, with literally nothing to lose, talking about how they could, anarchy is really the key. That's not what normal people talk like, unless you're a weirdo leftoid online. You can see Jamel Hill, former ESPN anchor, who really wanted to, talk politics. And these people, by the way, both, if there are people on the right that do this, they're bad too. Just examples of people on the left that seem to do this are just far more prominent. They want to divide you. They want you to live in fear. And part of what I want to do on this channel, part of my goal on this channel, is to kind of take the fangs out of stuff like this, to poke a little fun at it, and at the end of the day, have my viewers, realize that, life is pretty good for most of us, all things considered, and I don't like this alarmist behavior from the right or the left. And you see Jamel Hill, it's not the messaging, folks. This country simply loves white supremacy. I suppose she didn't see all the historic women of color that were voted into office, and people of color. The governor or the mayor or whatever, or the New York winner was black. The AG or assistant AG in Virginia is a black former soldier. I mean, very diverse group of winners, but to these weirdos, if you don't agree with them politically, then you're just white, apparently. Rutgers associate professor Brittany Cooper wrote, "White supremacy is indefatigable." What? Indefatigable? Did you use the thesaurus.com before you did that? The truth is both personal and political this week. Long way of saying, I'm tired. Mona Athway, you can see she's going to have a good take due to her pink hair. White women voters are foot soldiers of white supremacist patriarchy. again, they voted a woman and several women in important roles. But again, these people, you're not a woman unless you're also a far leftist to these people. In their majority, they voted GOP long before Trump because they benefit from white supremacy. Tough. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but before Barack Obama, every Democrat that ever won before was also white. It's like these people live in a weird world that we can't possibly understand. I don't understand like this level of thinking. It's probably because I go out and I touch grass and I talk to people and I have regular conversations with people whom I disagree with politically, and shockingly, we don't hate each other. And if things ever get too tense, we just change the topic because that's the way normal people go. They benefit from white supremacy and they undergird right-wing populism as voters and candidates. Okay. Nah, don't think that's true. How about podcast host Kimberly Johnson also after that supreme? The fact this VA election is so close, Youngkin offered no political strategy. He ran on Trumpism, on banning CRT from grade school, even though they don't teach it at grade school. Well, I would say many leaked videos seem to refute that. Trumpism, if you want to get into a deeper dive politically, of course, you can watch my coverage on Midwesley, but that's what the Democrats ran on, not the Republicans. They tried to paint this Youngkin guy as closely as they possibly could to Trump, and it blew up in their face. Because most people, even if they didn't vote for the guy, don't have TDS, right? Like, I don't lose sleep at night over a guy I didn't vote for, who was in the last election. You know what I mean? Like, I'm worried about here and now. I'm worried about, normal things that normal everyday people are worried about. Like, hey, do I have enough like food and water kind of around just in case? Christmas is coming around. Maybe I should start Christmas shopping a little earlier. Heck, Christmas decorations even are hard to find. These are things that like normal everyday people are concerned about. Hey, gas is $3.50 a gallon now where I live, $3.40 a gallon. I know I'm in a privileged position where like I don't have to drive very much and the increase in gas isn't affecting my life very hard. But I do think about everyone who drives an hour, both directions to work every day. What kind of hit that is. That's what normal people think about. Anti-racism expert Leslie Mack, also brightly colored hair, writes, because we are committed to supremacy, it's important to say these things. Here's another blasting white women from, shockingly, a white woman. White women are thrilled to have cause in our lane that we can throw ourselves behind. CRT panic, it's not panic, in which we can wring our hands out about white children and obfuscate our white supremacy. This is why white women have done best since the 50s. What? I mean, and there are thousands of these weirdos having these insane meltdowns. I can't be the only one who feels like their whole life and the world is completely crumbling, even without the election results. What? These people probably don't even live in Virginia. Currently going through the 7 stages of grief, liberal hosts get roasted online for their election night meltdown following Republican Glenn Youngkin's Virginia gubernatorial victory. Hey, I don't live in Virginia. I got no skin in this game. If you're happy about it, I'm happy for you. If you're sad about it, well, then there's always the next election. That's how you have to live your life. I strongly dislike my loser, gosh, I don't even want to say his name. The loser running my state, Evers. I don't walk around every day, curses, Evers. No, I'm like, I mark the calendar of the next election. I make sure I'm going to get involved. I'm going to make sure that I tell my friends to get involved who also don't like him. That's what normal people do. Hosts on MSNBC and CNN were unable to contain their shock at McAuliffe's defeat, with Jake Tapper looking at the map of election results saying flatly, "Oh my God." Commentator Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow on MSNBC launched an astonishing tirade against dangerous Republicans, warning that voting for Youngkin was a soft white-ist was a gateway to more hardcore isms. If you're watching these weirdos, change the station. They don't care about you. Van Jones, remember this was a white lash. Last night was actually woke lash. It wasn't necessarily a referendum on Democrats versus Republicans, I don't believe, so much as people wanting to get back to the basics, feeling safe again, worrying about their families. And these pundits on TV absolutely melting down. If you want to give yourself a treat, turn on NBC. Ann Coulter tweeted as the results began to favor Republicans. National Review critic Kyle Smith says, every conservative I know is watching MSNBC, just taking in their copium. I mean, Rachel Maddow having an absolute meltdown. I'm not going to play any of these clips because they're gonna claim them, certainly. But they're just unhinged. Why? Because they're like, crap, people are voting for things that matter to them and not to us. Always keep that in mind. Whatever news you watch, whether you watch Fox, CNN, MSNBC, know that they're telling you about things that matter to them. Think about what matters to you when you go to the ballot. And you probably won't have hilarious meltdowns like they did. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.